her father's head and he puts it in a tray, and then when it's delivered to her, she might be thinking, this is food, what is this? And she lifts that tray, she sees it is the head of her father Hussein, and at this point she says, oh father, whom should be attached to you? Who should I be attached to after you? Who would bring your orphan up? Oh father, who's the companion of these captive women? I wish I had been sacrificed for you. I wish I had become blind and couldn't see your beard tinged with blood. Then she put her lips on her father's lips, and she continued to try and cry until she fell unconscious, and then she eventually left this world out of the love of her father in that prison. And then Imam al-Sajjad wants to do ghusl on this baby Ruqayya, and he gets the lady responsible to do ghusl for her. The woman says, I can't do ghusl on this small child. Why? Because the small child is sick. She says, how? She is not sick. The woman says her body is blue. Sayyidah Zainab at this point says, those marks are not the marks of illness, but are the marks of the whips of Shimr, as they whip them as they're walking from camp to camp. And going back to Medina, Sayyidah Zainab holds on to the gates of her grandfather's mosque and screams, oh grandfather, I announce to you the loss of my brother Hussein. Sukaina yells out, grandfather, we will lament our suffering to you. And Rabab, when entering Medina, she rips off the roof of her home. She says, how dare I sit in shade while Abu Abdullah is left with the sun striking him for 3 days. And she continued to cry until she finally said, her tear glands were running dry. She asked her maid to make her food. So she continued to cry again. And here she chanted and warned Abu Abdullah, saying, the one who was the light of guidance is now dead in Karbala with no burial. Who shall look after the orphans and the needy? Where will the impoverished go? By Allah, I shall mourn you as long as I live and until my last breath. Many of the nobles of the time wished to marry Rabab. But she said, after Rasulullah was my father-in-law, I wish for no other father-in-law. And then finally Imam al-Sajjad when talking about Sham and talking about what was the hardest part of the whole journey, he comes and says, every time I remember the mutilated bodies of Fatima's children, I choke on my tears. Every time I look at my aunts and my sisters, I remember how they were bewildered and ran in terror from one tent to the other. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be of those who have confidence and practice their faith with conviction and with strength. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be of Ibadah al-Salihin, the Habba of Muhammad wa al-Muhammad, the Shi'as of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and the Muntadhirin of Imam al-Zaman, and the Avengers of Karbala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa al-Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein.